Hello, FPL managers. We are back with the FPL Optimized podcast. This is episode number 113. I am Bas, the casual manager, and my co host is Sertalp, the data scientist. This is the podcast in which we combine analytics with the good old eye test. Data or grass, or data and grass? That's the question. Sertalp, are you ready for the busy and festive season?
Well, I'm ready. I am a little bit sick, so that because of
What's
that,
new?
maybe. But yeah, what's new? It's on a regular basis. Every 2 weeks, I'm
Yeah,
sick. So it
right.
was my week to get sick. So I'm sick. But yeah, I feel ready. Like
Okay.
after drinking my tea and making some transfer plans, I think I will be in a better shape. But more than me, I think you are ready. Like you went to another vacation, Bas. Do you want to talk about it?
I wouldn't call it vacation. I was
Mm.
just away for a few days.
Yeah,
and
that's a vacation.
yeah, I posted this picture on Saturday. I was able to go for a few days to Switzerland with the kids, and we enjoyed, let's say, the first snow on the slopes. And on Saturday, while I still had to check my team, yeah, this was just a little picture from the slopes. But yeah, no, I had a few nice days. Enjoyed some snow, enjoyed some sun, so that was a good time.
Good, good. Well, I feel like you're more ready than I am.
Yeah,
It's
but
okay.
it's needed, right? Because it's a busy period coming up. So
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Definitely. Yeah, another vacation scheduled for you, or is this the one until the
no,
new year?
no, this was it. So
Okay.
Christmas is just with the family. This was
Okay.
just a few days Switzerland to enjoy
Okay.
some skiing.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
Okay. So yeah, looking forward to the busy season. Busy, I think, both from a private as an FPL perspective. With the holidays coming up. So today we'll try to cover as much as we can so everyone can get prepared before the holidays start.
Yes.
And I think you wanted to say something about that busy period, right, Sir Tom?
Yeah. So this is a graphic from Lucas. It is F underscore analytic on Twitter, or X. So this shows the ranks how Elite 1000 changes through the season. So people who are listening to us, so it's a graph showing how the average rank changes. So, well, obviously these are mostly very involved managers, as I should put, mostly analytic managers too. But
Yeah.
so typically ranks start rising after game week 8. It's interesting because I think some people use their chips early, so early ranks are like pretty chaotic. And after game week 8, 9 ish, like engaged managers, they start rising in the ranks. Now I feel like during the festive season, more people miss deadlines because they're
Yeah.
busy with the family. But family
Right.
comes second, FPL comes first, so don't miss any deadline.
Right.
uh, I'm joking, of course, but yeah. So I feel like this is the period to gain some ranks.
Yeah.
Most people will. Well, there will be people who are unlucky, of course, but that's why I'm a little bit excited until game week 23, 24, where ranks start to stabilize a bit.
Yeah.
And since we have like more game weeks around this time of the year, it is always exciting. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's exciting, but it's also a little bit depressing because basically after game week 24, the season is over, it looks like.
For average, but like it's like a
Yeah.
distribution, right? So there are people on
Yeah.
the end of the spectrum always, and
Sure.
that's what you are trying to do. If you
Yeah.
want to increase the risk, obviously you can go with for
Right.
differentials and then yeah, make it exciting,
Uh,
I guess.
yeah, no, that's true. But it's a good point that basically the next couple of game weeks or the next couple of weeks are quite important from an rank perspective.
Hmm.
So let's try to stay engaged, and we will definitely do that also in this podcast.
Sure.
But before we look forward, as always, we'll first look back. So let's look at how game week 16 went for us. And just I wanted to say before Sertop starts sharing the scores, I just wanted to say anyone who is listening on YouTube, we would appreciate if you give the video a like or if you subscribe to the channel. Usually I ask for it at the end of the podcast, but I was thinking maybe it's better to do it at the start. So here we go. Yeah, thanks in advance. We appreciate your likes. Okay, Sertalp, let's take a look at game week 16 for us.
Well, it is interesting because like whenever I have a better game week than you do, then you kind of want to skip this part very quickly. And whenever your game week is better, you're like, yeah, let's talk about it. Okay, let's talk about it. You had a better game
Yeah,
week, but the good thing is both
slightly.
of us got green arrows.
Yeah.
I finished with 59 points. I think it was 58 the day before, but then they I think adjusted bonuses.
Yeah.
A pretty good game week. I mean, especially Arsenal clean sheet. I was very happy with it because I have triple Arsenal defenders, Raya and two defenders,
Oh.
Gabriel and Timber.
Wow.
So when you have three defenders, like it's always stressful. You
Yeah.
either get lots of points or none at all.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I played it this way. And besides, like Fernandez got a goal from penalty. I was really hoping for it because uh, only in my team, I mean, comparing our teams on FPL Game Week, you can clearly see that my team had two players who was playing against like tougher opposition, and Bomo playing
Mm.
against Chelsea and Fernandez against Manchester City. Um, so both of them returned points. So from that perspective, I'm happy. But I'm unhappy with how many points you got from Hall and Isaac and
Yeah.
finished the game week with 65 points. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, maybe first the point you made about clean sheets, because indeed it can be stressful, and in your case it worked with the Arsenal clean sheet. In my case, I was quite unlucky. I think twice with Colwill with Chelsea, because they had the late goal from
Yeah,
Mbumo,
true.
and also Kerkes, and like was what was it, like the 88 minute? So yeah, that's a bit annoying, of course. And also when you watch those games and you're hoping the team to keep a clean sheet, it's more stressful, I would say, than when you're watching a striker and you're hoping to score, because it's really like yeah, scoring is always nicer to watch, I would say. So that's a bit annoying, but yeah. So yeah, I lost two clean sheets quite late. That was a bit unfortunate. And I have Verbruggen in goal, so I'm just starting with the bad points because Verbruggen really is doing nothing for me, and I really kind of regret that I went for him. So that's something I need to look at. But from a positive side, yeah, I had a really good Saturday, because on Saturday I had indeed the Newcastle guys with Hall scoring 15 points, really nice, and also Isaac with 11 points. And then also Gabriel with 9 and Cunha also with 9. So that was a really good Saturday. So yeah, it was looking like a good game week. But then on Sunday, basically all my players blanked, while other key players like Bruno and Jackson, who are quite popular, scored points. So that wasn't too good for my rank. But yeah, overall a decent game week still with 65 points. A game week rank within the top 1 million, which I checked last time that happened was game week 7. So yeah, I shouldn't complain. Especially also indeed because I beat you this game week, and I'm also still in the cup. So I'm not sure if you're looking at
Oh, I
the
didn't check
FPL Cup,
mine.
but that one is I think it started 2 weeks ago. I'm still in it. So I think that's also a nice added, yeah, a nice something extra to look at now every week to see how we're doing in the cup. Are you still
Yeah.
in it?
I don't know. I didn't check to be honest. I don't really
Okay.
care much about the cup as much as I do in the recent years because
Yeah.
I always get eliminated in early rounds, so I don't really care much about
Right.
anything.
Yeah. Probably I'll. It's probably I'll also get
Maybe you
eliminated
will get it this season, man. You never know. I'm rooting
pretty
for you.
soon. But yeah, you never know. Indeed, it's fun when you're in it.
You're
And I'm
giving a
also
good
hoping
fight
that
to
one
win
day,
head to head. Yeah.
um, it was also fun to play against a team that you know the manager, right? That you see the cup draw and you're like, oh, I know that guy. That would be fun. Never
Yeah.
happened yet, but
So many players, but yeah,
yeah,
eventually
so
we
many
will.
players. But yeah, maybe I play against you one day. That would be fun. Yeah.
Yeah, that will be.
All right, but that was the game week review. So now let's look ahead, and as usual, we start with the fixture ticker.
Fixture ticker at the top of the table. We have Liverpool. They have four favorable fixtures in this next 6 game week horizon. They play against Tottenham this week. It's offensively a good fixture, but not defensively. because all of the Tottenham's games have lots of goals, but they both score and concede lots of goals. But
Hmm.
game week 18 is pretty good for
Yeah.
Liverpool against Leicester at home.
Yeah.
Projected point average is really good, 6.1, and also defensively 5.2. West Ham is also a good fixture defensively, 4.2, and then against Manchester United and Nottingham Forest. Those two are also marked as good fixtures defensively. So it's not surprising that the models solvers they want Liverpool defenders because of this.
Hmm.
Because there are lots of points, at least projected points, I should say. In the second rank, we have Arsenal. So they play against Crystal Palace. It's kind of like a good, but not in the top 10 percentile. But they play against Ipswich in game week 18 at home,
Hmm.
and both defensively and offensively a good fixture. And at the end of the horizon, they have an Aston Villa game coming up. That game is also nice defensively.
Okay. Hmm.
But in general, their defensive point average is the same as Liverpool, 4.2. And they
Hmm.
are the best defensively, like these two teams. So
Yeah.
then it's not, again, surprising to see Arsenal defenders and Liverpool defenders in optimal teams.
Yeah.
And like as a triple Arsenal defender or owner, I'm happy with this. In And then the third place, we have Manchester City. Their game this week is against Aston Villa at away. Not particularly interesting, but then the next three fixtures are pretty good: Everton, Leicester, and West Ham. And
Hmm.
it is home, away, home, both defensively and offensive. Good fixtures. The point average is pretty significant. So
Hmm.
Manchester City's offense point average is the same as Liverpool in this horizon, and 5.2. Their defense, however, is lower than both Liverpool and Arsenal. And then we have Chelsea at the fourth place. Only like only fixtures that are marked in the top 10 percentile are Bournemouth in game week 21 and Wolves in game week 22.
Hmm.
Manchester United comes fifth. Obviously, they had a good game against City. And I haven't checked actually how their projections changed, but it's nice to see Manchester United in the fifth place again.
Yeah.
Um, so they don't have any particularly nice, top 10 personnel fixtures in this horizon, but they are playing against Liverpool in game week 20 away, and defensively that's a bad fixture in the bottom 10 percentile. And then comes Fulham, Newcastle, Tottenham, Aston Villa, and Nottingham Forest. Do you have anything to add here, Buzz?
Maybe just a few things. Like if we start at the top with Liverpool, yeah, we spoke about it last week. I think everyone or almost everyone has Salah. So the good thing could be to go for a defender. I think many people went for Trent,
Yes.
but Trent is of course quite expensive, and I had him for the first part of the season, and he didn't do too much. I mean, they keep a few clean sheets, but he didn't really get any assists or anything like that. And I saw a lot of enthusiasm for Trent also last week for the Fulham game, but it was a bit similar. Like, and they conceded again. So then, of course, he's a really expensive defender. And so
Yeah.
far, yeah, again, he didn't do too much this season. So I can understand why people go there, but on the other hand, personally, I'm not too interested at the moment. But well, let's see. That's something to monitor.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I think I also mentioned Jota last week, and that was interesting that he came on and he scored a goal. So I think that can be really a good option. If we remember the start of the season, he always started as number 9. So if that happens again, and he gets he starts again in the team, then that could be really an attractive option.
Mm-hmm.
Arsenal, well, I think you did well going for triple defense because they really look strong in defense. I went for Saka a few weeks ago, but also Saka didn't do much since then. And then also he is quite expensive, of course, more than 10 million. So I'm hoping that Arsenal will show some offensive power again in some of the next games. And well, the games do look quite attractive, especially with the Ipswich game at home. So yeah, I'm happy to have Saka, but I hope he will start returning again. And then City, yeah, wow. I don't think anyone is too interested in going there, right? Even
Yeah,
though we've been talking about game week 18 at the fixtures turn, but looking at how they've been doing, I don't think many people will go there. So just something to monitor. But for now, I would say let's stay away until it changes. Chelsea, of course, a little bit the opposite. They're doing really well, attacking football, scoring goals. Palmer, Jackson, good options there. And Man United, yeah, you said they had a good game. I would say they had a good result, right? Because
good result. Yeah,
actually,
that's true.
I mean, yeah, I mean it's a detail, but the game City was better, right? And until the end, of course, Amat kind of changed the game, and he
Hmm.
scored. Well, he got the penalty, and he scored a good goal. So it's a great result for United, but for the rest of the game, they didn't look too good. But still, I mean, Bruno definitely very interesting option. Amat really cheap, good option. But I think Amorim is still, of course, looking for the right formation. Right, Rashford and Garnacho weren't even in the team, so that shows a little bit how shaky things still are. I would say. So also that one, I would say, better to monitor. But looking here at the chart, like game week 21, Southampton at home and then Brighton at home, that could be a nice entry point maybe. If we have a better view on the team and how they're doing by that time.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay. Yeah, good to look at the fixture ticker. And yeah, the game weeks are shown here like, yeah, weeks. But as we know, now with the Christmas period, we have quite some deadlines coming also midweek. So these deadlines will come quite thick and fast. So that's something to keep an eye on. Yeah.
Yeah, just to mention, game week 17 is obviously this weekend, but game week
Yeah.
18 is a mid game week,
Yeah.
and then game week 19 is like again next weekend. Game week 20 the following weekend, but game week 21 is a mid game week again. So
Yeah.
yes, it's a
Yeah.
busy period.
Okay, cool. All right. So this was the fixture ticker. And I think you also have a chart looking more at player positions.
Yeah, because when we share fixture ticker, I think we are talking about the team level, which sometimes we're not particularly interested in individual. Like at the team level, we are more interested in the individual level. So that's why I shared this chart on Twitter and Blue Sky, and people seem interested in it. So I wanted to include here. So I listed top 9 players from every position. I don't want to go over all of them because we it will take a whole episode, but just maybe mention top 3 options in each position and why they are good picks. So in terms of goalkeepers, Raya is ahead of everyone else. Like his good fixtures are Ipswich in game week 18, as I mentioned, and also Crystal Palace game this week, and also Aston Villa game at the end of the horizon. They're also They're also good. Like he's projected to score the second highest in those weeks, and the highest in game week 18. Then we have Ellison in the second place. His good fixtures are against Leicester in 18, West Ham in 19, and also Nottingham Forest in 21. And then we have Sanchez at the third place. Everton, Fulham, and also Wolves game at the end of the horizon are marked as good fixtures. Besides these, though, Leno is projected to get. Well, his projected points are higher than this top 3 for this game week only, 4.0, because they are playing against Southampton. So offensively, they are not very good. And in game week 20, he's also again marked as the best goalkeeper against Ipswich. But yeah, we will see. Um, and in defenders, was there anything you wanted to add here, or maybe?
No, I was just looking at kind of the price points because
Mm-hmm.
I went for Brugge as a kind of a cheap goalkeeper, 4.5.
Yes.
But as I said, he's not really doing much. So I was looking if there's any 4.5 goalkeepers in here, the list you're showing, but they're all a bit more expensive. But that's also,
Yeah.
of course, because they did well and they're popular options. So like Cells, I think he's now 4.7.
Yeah, he's
Sanchez is
4.7.
4.8. So they all went up already a few times.
Only goalkeeper in this list that's lower than 4.5 is Henderson at
Okay.
4.4. But he's playing
Yeah.
against Arsenal this game week, and his good fixture is in game week 19 against Southampton again.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, Defenders, Gabriel is the first one because obviously he also has some attacking return potential.
Yeah.
They have good defensive fixtures, and on top of that, because of the potentially getting attacking returns, it makes him a really good defender. Well, most people have him anyway. Uh, and in the second rank, we have Alexander Arnold. We just talked about him. But in this horizon, there are again three good fixtures defensively: Leicester, West Ham, and Manchester United, where his projected points are the highest among all defenders, with 5.3, 4, and 4.2 respectively. So that's hard to beat, like with any other defender. And then at the third rank we have Saliba. Again, we talk about Arsenal's good fixtures.
Mm.
Then we have Guardiola. Uh, well, nowadays when you talk about Manchester City, everyone looks as if you're talking about, I don't know, like Southampton. So I'm gonna avoid making any further comments. But we have Virgil at the fifth place again. As I mentioned, models love Arsenal and Liverpool defenders in this horizon.
Mhm.
Um, Among cheap options, though, I see Colville down the list at the eighth position, and I actually bought him last week because he
Oh,
enables lots of other players
yeah.
at that price point. Among midfielders, we have Salah at the top. Obviously, his projected points for this horizon is pretty insane, especially game week 18 against Leicester. It is 9.2.
Wow.
Really hard to beat that one. And also in game week 20 against Manchester United is 7.3. Pretty nice projections. But this week they are head to head with Palmer. With both of them are at 6.5. We will talk about captaincy in a minute, but
Yeah.
that's interesting. And Palmer is the second. He has three fixtures here where he's the highest. Oh, sorry, four fixtures here that he's the highest. This week against Everton, in game week 19 against Ipswich, in game week 21 against Bournemouth, and in game week 22 against Wolves. So as you see, I mean, Chelsea has good fixtures, but especially Palmer has pretty good projections.
Mm.
Um, because of the recent performance, like people are going for Enzo, and I also get
Mm.
lots of questions about him. I think model projections changed a bit. Obviously, they're going up, but they're not at a level that you see him immediately in the optimal team. Just wanted to mention it.
Yeah.
In the third place, we have Saka. Again, it's mostly like good defensive fixtures for Arsenal, but it also typically means they have like goal scoring opportunities. Obviously, Ipswich gaming in game week 18 is pretty good, but that game week we have better options like Salah and Palmer. So, like
Mhm.
I don't know. Game week 17, all the projections are a little bit low, and in game week 18, everything is really high. Um,
Mm.
the funny thing is, game week 18 is a game week,
Yeah.
midweek game week, so there
Christmas.
will be lots of random benching. So we will see how
Yeah.
this will play out. But
Yeah.
and then in the forward category, we have Holland at the top. Obviously, when I say this, people again give me angry looks, but he's the highest projected player. There's nothing I can do about it. And the second rank we have Isaac. So,
Yeah.
well, good for you to have him. His projections are pretty good.
Yeah.
And so, especially like Ipswich this week, Aston Villa, and towards the end of the horizon, we have Wolves and Bournemouth games.
Yeah.
And then Nico Jackson is third. And yeah, these are the top three players in every position. Anything you
Cool.
want to add here? Or
Um, well, just maybe this final chart, like Jackson, he's a strange player, right? But I think I still have him in mind from last season where he just didn't start really well and he wasn't
yeah,
scoring
that's true.
much. But I think this season he has proven himself. I mean, he's still not super consistent. We saw that also again in last game. Like he had a really easy chance and he didn't score. Kind of open goal. He took a strange shot and the ball went over. But then later on, he did score a goal. So he is dangerous. He's scoring goals. He gets giving assists. So and because Chelsea's playing attacking football, I would actually really like to bring Jackson in. So that's something that I'm planning to do in the next weeks, but it will take a little bit of reshuffling.
Sure.
I was anyway planning to sell Cunha after this week. I hope he will still get the game. I think there are a lot of people saying that he probably gets suspended because of what happened after the previous Wolves game. I was just checking on X. I didn't see anything yet, so I don't know what the status is. But that's of course something to monitor. But yeah, I hope he will still get the game against Leicester. But after that, and we mentioned that before, the Wolves games don't look that good anymore. So I think many people will start to sell Cunha. And then yeah, someone like Jackson. Well, it's a higher price, so it won't be that easy, but it will be an interesting option, I would say. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and definitely Isaac because he's so consistent. Wilson got injured again, so his spot is really secure. Newcastle had a good win, 4-0. So yeah, let's hope that they will start being more consistent also as a team. So yeah, interesting options.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but thanks for adding those charts. I think
Sure.
it's really valuable to look at it at a player level. Let's combine it then, and let's look at the optimal team.
Optimal team. So we used a mix of FPL review and Mikael Tokman models here, and we are solving for 12 game weeks this time. But we are only allowing transfers in the first 6 game weeks, so that like we don't need to deal with the details for the future, where there will be also changes due to doubles and blanks, so we don't know them exactly. But the team is composed of Ellison in the goal, Gabriel, Timber, Colville in defense. We have Palmer, Salah, Bruno Fernandes, and Bowen in midfield. Joe Pedro, Raul, and Isaac in forward. And among the bench, we have Fabianski, Ahmad, Konza, and Andersen. I'm using my own team value. My team value is actually lower than most people. But yeah, this team still leaves me 0.4 in the bank. So maybe people can have a better team with some upgrades. But yeah, so this team I think looks pretty nice. And actually, the solver sells Timber after 2 game weeks. After games against Crystal Palace and Ipswich, it sells him for Munoz, and also sells
Mm.
Bowen for Eze and Joe
Yeah.
Pedro for Solanke, and rolls twice. And then in game week 22, it sells Gabriel for Alexander Arnold in preparation for the potential double in game week 24. And Munoz becomes Michaelenko, and Ahmad becomes Decor. So, well, those transfers are further down the line, but yeah, this is the optimal team with some transfers scheduled.
Yeah. No, nice. And I think my team is actually quite close to the optimal team, so I'm happy with that. Attack, yeah, I like Raul, especially for the next game. Fulham play against Southampton. Actually, one of the few games. If you look at the games for this game week 17, they all look quite tough, and I think the only
Yes, yes,
one
that's
which has a good home game is Fulham against Southampton. So I think Fulham options could be interesting. Just what we said last week with Jimenez and Muniz, it's just really difficult to predict what will happen. I think Jimenez is the clear number one, but could happen anytime that Muniz might start, or like
yeah,
what
that's
happened
true.
last game week that he gets subbed after 60 minutes or 60-ish. So that's a little bit of a risk I would say you take with Jimenez, but definitely a good game that they have. And the other thing I wanted to say, because like in game week 19, you see that the solver goes for Crystal Palace with Munoz and Eze, but especially Eze, he hasn't been looking good this season. The guys at FML FPL were talking about it. I was listening to their podcast yesterday. That yeah, he also went off early. He looks like he's carrying an injury. He doesn't look super fit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, personally, I'm not too interested in Eze, but yeah, the fixtures are getting quite good. So yeah, it's something we should keep an eye on, but
Yeah, yeah,
I would be a little bit careful there.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Good points.
Okay, great. Thanks for covering that.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think the final chart to look at is the captaincy options.
Yes, and since game week 18 is a mid game week, we wanted to cover that one too. And
Yeah.
since we don't know how much time we will have during the Christmas week, we also wanted to
Yeah.
cover game week 19. So I will talk about all the captaincy for the next 3 game weeks.
Yeah.
This game week is pretty interesting. It's between Palmer and Salah, it seems like.
Yeah. Yeah.
So two models are backing Palmer as the best option, Hub and Scott. And two other models are backing Salah as best option, namely FPL Review and Mikael Toplam, which are the models
Mhm.
that analytics folks allow more. So I can see analytics folks going for Salah for sure.
Mhm.
But if you take the average and also Fix's top option is Haaland, interestingly. But if you take the average, you have Palmer at the top with 6.54 and Salah second with 6.46. So it's
Yeah.
just very close, almost the same. It will
Yeah.
be a coin toss between them
Mhm.
come deadline. And Haaland is at the third place and Isaac at the fifth place. Um, I think I was also checking what happens if you scale players to 90 minutes. And I actually see Raul's name there too. So if we knew that
Ah.
he was gonna play 90 minutes, he's also potentially a good option, like if you want to take some risks. But I feel
Yeah.
like Palmer or Salah will be sufficient for most people in terms of
Mhm.
captaincy if you want to play it safe.
Mhm.
Um, any comments on this week's captaincy? Who are you captaining?
No, yeah, it's a difficult one. Indeed, for me, I think it's between Palmer and Salah. And looking at the fixtures, Palmer as a way to Everton. I think Everton is, especially at home. Well, you never know, but they're not so easy to beat, I would say. And so, well, Liverpool go to Spurs, which also, of course, is a good team, but maybe a bit more open. So I think we saw, what Chelsea did there. They scored 4 goals. I think that's something that Salah or that Liverpool could also do. So yeah, I would this time. I would also, I think, give the armband to Liverpool. I also see it's the final game of the game week, Sunday at 5:30 here in Central Europe time, so 4:30 in the
Yeah,
UK.
yeah.
So that's also quite nice that we just have the captain in the final game. Even though, of course, from a from a data or from a making sense point of view, it doesn't make sense. But
Hmm.
it just maybe quite nice to have him in the final game.
Yeah, thank you, Bas, for that. And in game week 18, the top option is Salah with a significant margin. His projected point is 9.19 and Palmer at 7.45 at the second ring. And then we have Saka at the third place and Haaland at the fourth place. Salah is playing against Leicester at home, so he's the best option across every model. All of them uh,
Mm.
has Salah at the top. Game week 19 is again interesting because Review and Mikael Tokvam they back Haaland as the top option. Hub and Scott gives Palmer as the top option, and then Fantasy Football Fix has Salah as the best option. If you take the average though, it's funny, but Haaland and Palmer is at the exact same projection, at least for 2 digits. It is 7.33 for Haaland and Palmer, and then Salah comes at 7.18. So
Hmm.
again, very close. So we have two tough captaincy choices in 17 and 19, and game week 18 is very clear. So it will be Salah. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not sure. And also, like, even between Review and Mikael Tokwan, for the second best option in game week 19, there is a disagreement. FBR Review has Palmer as the second best captain, and Salah is actually fourth after Son. Um, However, Mikael Tokwan has Salah at the second place, and Palmer's at the third. So,
Mhm.
yeah, all these projections are pretty interesting. So every model has a different opinion for game week 19.
Yeah.
It seems like.
Well, that's good. We'll
That's
probably see,
definitely good. That's definitely good.
people taking different captains.
Yep.
And even for game week 18, I'm a little bit surprised. I would expect Saka maybe to show up higher because Arsenal play at home against Ipswich. So I
Yes.
would say that's also quite a good game to give the armband to Saka. Of course, yeah, Salah plays against Leicester at home, so I think that's the favorite. But I would say the Arsenal game is pretty good too.
Yep. Yep. I agree. Yeah.
All right, great. Well, we covered a lot again. I think
Yes.
that is it for today. Was there anything else from your side?
Um. Before we go to the mini league updates, I just wanted to mention one thing. So I have been working on the Python solver. After these changes, after the assistant manager chip, and
Yeah.
I'm happy to report that we have added the assistant manager chip support to the solver. And there are also people who are generating these projections. We also added a sample projection to the repository from Nick, and we will be probably updating those sample projections. And FBI review also started sharing them. Well, obviously we have still some time until we use the assistant manager chip, but as we get closer to game week, let's say 21, I think people will make transfers with the chip strategy in mind, or at least that's what I'm thinking. If I'm gonna use my assistant manager chip early, I need to leave
Mhm.
some money in the bank, and also maybe also roll some transfers if I can. So that's why we will be taking these chip combination runs in future game weeks, in future episodes. Maybe like after this Christmas break, we will be running these different chip strategies and see how they fall. Obviously, we don't know all the blanks and doubles yet, but you can still go for the average case, and or maybe like generate some binary scenarios with most likely winners in mind. So yeah, we will cover all that in future episodes. I just wanted to give a heads up to people in case they have been waiting for the assistant manager chip to be implemented. So yeah, I mean we have a way to
Cool.
optimize it now. Just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, that's great. And what's also interesting, what I can see here is that it goes for a transfer of manager.
Hmm.
It's something we were talking about last week. Like you choose a manager for 3 weeks, but within those 3 weeks, you can actually change your manager. And we were discussing a little bit last week whether you should do that or not. And it looks like here the solver is actually proposing it, right?
Yeah, actually, yeah, I can give an insight on this. I tried with different game weeks, not only 24, but also like game week 31, 33. We tried to also run for 36, where, there are more doubles. So in all of these scenarios, there is an assistant manager transfer. There's always a transfer. Sometimes there are even two transfers. Like for every game week, it goes for a different manager. It will depend on how robust your team is and if you will need any transfers for the rest of your team. But I think there is more to gain by switching from managers to managers because the table position bonus is massive, like 10 points for winning a team like 5 points ahead of you. That's really big. And I think uh, whatever your assistant manager chip strategy will be, the optimal will probably include a transfer somewhere, either two or three. I am not convinced that there will be any case where you can choose an assistant manager and go for 3 game weeks straight. You can possibly do it, and it will be
Yeah.
slightly suboptimal maybe for good managers, but I think there is more to gain by jumping to other managers.
Okay. Well, that's really interesting already as a,
Yeah,
let's
yeah,
say, an
it's
early conclusion, because I think initially last week when I think we saw the first responses to it, I think most people were thinking, well, we take a manager for 3 weeks and we will not waste a transfer on it. But as you say now, actually, and as many people said, this is actually a really powerful chip. And yeah, it could make sense to use the transfer on a manager. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
true.
Well, we'll certainly come back on it as Sertalp said, but it's good to already have these kind of first insights.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's wrap it up with a quick look at the mini league and our leaders. And we still have Abhinav C as our number one, with his team taking quickly Origi. He had 61 points this game week and is on 1109 points in total. And we have a new number two. It's Harsha S with his team Eden Hazard. And Harsha had a really good game week with 78 points, and he's on 1,096 points in total, which is 13 points behind Abhinav. And then on number three, we have a good old, I would say, Lyle Mosley with his team Don't Panic. He had 61 points. And actually, he has the same total points now as Harsha. So he's not number three, they're combined number two. So, yeah, well done, everyone, and keep it up. And that was it again for today. Thanks for tuning in. As Sertalp said, we probably won't be back next week because it's a bit busy with Christmas.
Yeah.
So let us wish you already happy holidays already now. Try to enjoy FPL, but more importantly, make sure to enjoy time with your loved ones.
And until
Um,
sorry, go ahead.
oh no, sorry. You wanted to finish it already.
I thought you finished your sentence. Sorry.
No worries. I just wanted, well, people probably know what I wanted to say. I just wanted to say that you can subscribe to the podcast and you can also follow us on X. For Sertalp, it's at Sertalp Bilal. For me, it's at BalfiBB. And we also have the separate account for the pod, which is at FPL Optimized. And as you probably know now, FPLoptimized.com is also a website where you can find a lot of charts and data which can help you with your decision making.
And until next time, stay curious and stay analytical. Goodbye.